I think there is, as you say, lots of confusion, lots of diverse opinions around this. Some people are very anxious. Some people are more than ready to ditch the mask.
And now earlier you said mask wearing has been a divisive issue. I know you were having some conversations with my producers. So what are some of the conflicts that could arise as mask mandates are being dropped?
Yeah, I think we've seen throughout the pandemic that this has been quite divisive for people, and often with polarized opinions. So we certainly could see conflict in the community. For instance, if somebody chooses to wear a mask and somebody, has something to say about that, the mask is a very visible sign of potentially whatever that person's vulnerability is, and so that could potentially be a target for some people. And we may see it within the home and family, as we've seen also throughout the pandemic, very difficult conversations if there are opposing opinions on whether it is time to get rid of the mask or not.
So then what is the best way to deal with it in an environment, let's say for a school, for example, where we know that masks are no longer required there, but we certainly know we were listening to some parents who were being interviewed that there's a variety of opinions on how children will be behaving in their classrooms.
Yeah, I think we will ultimately want to respect, individuals' comfort in situations. If they're, ideally, we want to be right out of the gate today talking to children, both at home and at school, about, what they're comfortable about, sort of what the mandates are, and if they're uncomfortable, who is safe in their environment to go to. And I think ultimately, whether it's at school, at home, in the community, or workplaces, we want to watch for if this behavior is even crossing a line into bullying, which we wouldn't expect anybody to tolerate in any circumstances.
What have you seen during the course of this pandemic? What have you encountered despite the fact that there were mask mandates, people still had very differing views of it. Some didn't wear it in protest. There were conflicts at grocery stores, etc. We certainly heard accounts of that. So what have you encountered prior to this date, and how do you anticipate that will either continue or be neutralized?
I think that we could potentially see more of the same. So some folks, because it is so polarizing for some folks, really, there could be these divisive and conflictual conversations, but more in this case directed at those wearing the mask as opposed to the flip side, those who weren't wearing the mask. And we'll need to sort of manage and navigate those situations should they arise. We may also see new trends in that, people choose to wear a mask if they're feeling unwell. As a new norm.
And that was my final question to you. In terms of the new norm, it's funny because it has been going on for such a long time now. People have become so accustomed to wearing the mask, which is something that generally we didn't see a whole lot of in Canadian cities. So do you think that there will be people, as you sort of mentioned there, who will just continue to watch it, to wear the mask rather?
I think definitely people will come to this with their own comfort. I think many people will continue to wear it for a variety of reasons. They may be immunocompromised. They may have loved ones they're caring for that are compromised. They may suffer with underlying anxiety. So I think there's lots of reasons why people may choose to continue to wear a mask, and that I think that will continue. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for your time for this discussion. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Christina Harrington is a social worker in Hamilton. Thank you. Now in Ottawa.